Traditionally, in the more progressive paths that we spoke of this morning, it was considered necessary to begin with to spend a considerable amount of time, often 1, 2, 3 decades, purifying the mind and the body before the student was considered sufficiently mature to embark on this direct return to their true nature. Something remarkable happened in the middle of the 20th century, and namely the appearance of 3 Indian sages, Ramana Maharshi, Atmananda Krishna Menon, and Srinasagadha Maharaj, who didn't create the direct path, but they resurrected it and said basically that it's not necessary to purify the mind and the body. You can take yourself however you find yourself, anxious, depressed, neurotic, upset, lonely, and go directly to your true nature of being aware, or awareness itself, without the need to purify the body and the mind. This is called the direct path, the second step we spoke of this morning. And this was, some people found this kind of, perhaps not offensive, but some people felt that it was an avoidance of dealing with one's psychological, emotional trauma, limitations, difficulties, and so on. And it was considered a kind of egoic bypass, a means by which the ego could avoid having to face its stuff, to deal with the shadow, and so on. And so this term spiritual bypassing was coined as a kind of derogatory term. So the first thing I would say, without apology, is that I'm talking now really about the direct path and the pathless paths. They are spiritual bypasses. I make no apology for that. We do indeed bypass the content of experience. That's the whole point of it. We don't spend 20, 30 years purifying the body, mind, and then ask ourselves the question, what is it that knows or is aware of our experience? We ask ourselves that question whether we're depressed or lonely or anxious or sad. And why? Because everybody's true nature is available to them 24/7, however depressed or lonely or upset or hurt or sad we may be, just by virtue of the fact that we are aware of that experience, shows that awareness is shining or is present in that experience, just by virtue of the fact we say, I am depressed. The I am, the pure I am, infinite being, is shining in that experience, albeit qualified by the feeling of depression. So the fact that our true nature is available, that shines not just in the background but in the midst of every experience, legitimizes the direct path. Here, that God's infinite being shines in each of our hearts as the knowledge I am, irrespective of the content of our experience. Whether we're depressed or lonely, or whether we're a criminal in jail, or whether whoever we are, I am, infinite being, is shining in our hearts and is equally available to everyone. So in that sense, what we do here is indeed a spiritual bypass. However, what is not understood very often by those that suggest in a negative way that what we do here is spiritual bypassing, is that at least in this approach, perhaps not in all approaches, but at least in this approach, once we have returned to our true nature and recognized the inherently peaceful, unconditionally fulfilled and loving nature of our being, of ourself, we then go back to the content of experience from which we previously turned away. And we try to, we realign our experience, thoughts and feelings, actions and relationships, with this understanding. So it's true that in this approach, on our way back to our true nature, we do bypass the content of experience. But at some stage we turn around again and go back to our experience, to our thoughts and feelings, activities and relationships. And to the best of our ability, we realign our experience with this understanding. So we bypass the content of experience on the way back to our true nature, but we deal with it after the recognition of our true nature.